Hello, this is First Fire Non-Assault Move. Welcome back to the 47th episode in the War in the East series. Let's get a situation report. It's the first week of March 1943. This video will include the results of two German turns and two Soviet turns. What I did is I did all moves and attacks for turn 90, and we'll get a situation report of those results, and then we'll have the Soviets execute their turn. Then we will do moves and attacks for turn 91, and then we'll have the Soviets execute their turn, and that will comprise episode 47. So for a situation report, Talonen held out again, no surprise, tying up less of our forces. The 13th is finally making its way to the front, where it will contribute. I think in the better weather we'll have better odds of taking Talonen, but I'm not holding my breath. At the least, they're tying up two, I think, Luftwaffe field divisions, one infantry division, and a regiment. Still pretty ridiculous that we can't take Talonen. All right, good news. We have reached the Gulf of Finland, finally carved our way through with repeated attacks to rout one of the... Who did we rout? What did the trick was attacking. Yeah, where were we here? There was two. That's an airdrop. So the 25th Rifle Corps, I thought there was two here. Anyways, it was at fort level 2, so we reduced the fort level to 0 and forced it to be routed. And that paved the way for these two. Well, let's get out of there and get back into this mode, move mode. Paved the way for the 8th Panzer Division and the 98th Infantry Division to reach the Gulf of Finland, cutting off 6 strong Soviet infantry corps, removing them from the order of battle, get them to surrender, and lessen the troop density in front of Leningrad. So we'll finish off this mini pocket, get our troops back into line. Okay, so south of Leningrad, still making attacks along this front, trying to disrupt the Soviets' line, get some more routes, take them out of line, and gradually push them back, eventually hoping to get some ruptures in their line to take advantage of. We almost have these three corps or these three formations encircled, just don't have the combat power or mechanized forces to punch through and completely surround these isolated Soviet formations, but it's still a threat and they will push back. Should they not, we'll try and attack and pinch them off. So further south of Novgorod, show what we did here. It was kind of quiet. It's the thinnest part of Army Group North's front, just pursuing the Soviets into this wild land, and our troop density and our combat power grows a little uh, more to the east of Veliky Luki as we fight the Soviets in this rugged terrain, mountainous region, hilly region, trying to push past it to get north of Ryzev. And we did some more attacks all along the front. Attack, attack, attack. And our troops are showing signs of exhaustion. We'll point that out. Some cool details that I really don't show on the videos, but we'll take a moment to look at that. So attacking, pushing Soviets back, trying to get our front a little more straightened out. Because once we reach the Bryansk sector, we kind of take a left turn and it becomes angular, and it's slowly twisting back towards the east as we're attempting to reach Leningrad. What's happening here, we're trying to break through the Soviets' line to the south of Ryzev. We have Vyazma. We did rail up the 24th and then railed them up to about here, and then we moved them forward over land with the last bit of our movement factors to get to the west of Vyazma, try to get to reach the line and work in conjunction with 2nd SS Panzer to get another small encirclement somewhere. Something along the lines of this. Those 24th will be in action next week, and the 2nd SS Panzer is showing signs of fatigue. What I mean by that, if we go into 2nd SS Panzer Corps' headquarters, look at show subordinates, we can get a commander's report for this corps, and this is the fatigue column. We click on that to sort it. Look at that, 70, 70, 76, 70, 69, 55, 55, 55. So 2nd SS Panzer Corps has been at it, fighting through this difficult terrain, now in the swamps, against stiff Soviet resistance. So they are fatigued, and the greater the fatigue, the more impact it has on favorable combat resolution. So we need to give these units rest from time to time, which I try to do with our Panzer Corps, taking them out of line, resting them for a week or two, putting them back in the line, and they're more effective afterwards. To the south of 2nd SS Panzer Corps, supporting infantry is pushing forward as best they can as well, pushing the Soviets back, inching towards Moscow. And when we think about Vyazma, it seemed kind of out of reach for quite a while, but now we are past Vyazma, we are threatening Ryzev, and we are 80 miles from Moscow. Moving further south, look at some of the attacks that took place, mostly in this sector. This part of the front is kind of quiet, combat power isn't that great, and the Soviets have developed up some fort levels, but we did commit 57th and 14th to try and get an encirclement, just didn't have the movement factors, and again, they are showing fatigue, wear and tear as well, fighting for over 2.5 months in blizzard conditions, snow conditions. Just didn't have the juice to, in isolation of the, just a single Panzer Corps, two Panzer Corps working only in one direction. We don't have a supporting Panzer Corps to form a second arm of a pincer. Just can't accomplish what we wanted to. At the very least, it's going to displace these Soviets and shorten our lines even further and get us closer to Tula. Should they remain in place, I left 2 gaps here to entice them to move forward. But should they remain in place, the next week I believe we could link up and get some a small encirclement. Pushing the Soviets back here, a little light section of the Soviets' front. Did some attacks. And then south around Kursk, to the north of Kursk and to the south of Kursk. Still, the theme is just pushing the Soviets back from Army Group North all the way down to Army Group South frontage where we can to keep the pressure on, trying to get ruptures, displace the Soviets, don't let them get dug in anywhere that we can prevent that. If we look south of Kursk down around Kharkov's region, we did manage to encircle some Soviets that weren't quick enough to get away, and the Soviets have been withdrawing at great speed at the earliest sign of trouble. It was great to get this encirclement. It's been a while. I'll take it. South of that, continue to press forward with 11th Army, 6th Army, Army Group South, all along the front as well, all the way down to the Sea of Azov, attacking. And we have a breakthrough here where we have the 36th Panzer Corps in action. We finally, almost all of the mighty infantry corps we had available to us have reached the line, and we accepted the challenge where the Soviets started to stack up, trying to reform a defensive line, and we smashed it open here. And we do have a smaller Panzer Corps to potentially cause some more trouble, potentially threaten Voroshilovograd. next week, and we have, I wouldn't say an open road to Rostov, but the Soviets are in trouble with what is coming down upon them with all these strong infantry divisions. And we managed to isolate 3 more Soviet formations against the Sea of Azov. If we move further down, I don't want to forget the Romanians. Look at that. We fully have invaded the Crimea with a thin Soviet line, but truthfully, this may be enough. The Soviets have put in front of the Romanians to hold the Romanians in check, but we'll gang up on the weaker Soviet divisions that are forming a front in front of the Romanians and try and slowly push them back, forcing the Soviets to commit troops to this sector, which will take them away from sectors where the Germans are operating. If we look at the weather, we did see that it was snow at the beginning of this turn, which is great. We could get mud next turn, second week of March. I'm thinking it's going to be snow again in all 3 Soviet zones. The only thing to do is let's find out. I feel a little better that we have some mini encirclements in destroying Soviet formations. It's been too long since we destroyed Soviet formations. This is going to make me a little less grumpy. Shouldn't have seen all those Soviet divisions in the back there during the Soviets' turn. But it's annoying. They showed me, so I will react. That's annoying that there's that many back there. Arriving at the front in the next week or two, I imagine. Man. They will definitely defend Rostov strongly. So we're going to have to displace Rostov as well. Probably attack to the north of it. This is going to be a bear around Leningrad. Just one dug in Soviet infantry corps has ridiculous defensive strength. Hey, we held out. How about that? I'm about to be bombed, I'm sure. There you go. So I'm looking at putting up War in the West as content for this channel, and I have to admit the new air mechanic for War in the West is a little daunting, because I'm not an air guy. I just let the AI handle the air. There's a lot, it seems like a lot to manage. The air phases. It's great for fans of that who really want to dig into that and get into all the nuances, but not for me. Just let the AI do it. Excited though. It's definitely a upgraded engine with new features, in particular logistics and air features features of the title. And I can only imagine what War in the East 2 is going to be like with new features and improvements. And there's more to the air component in this title as well. It's just, it's not my thing. Just let the eye handle it. What was that up there by the Gulf of Finland? You were interdicting what looked to be the forces that were encircled. Did they just swap places or something? I don't know. Well, he couldn't. Is there going to be a general withdrawal to the east of Kursk? Looks like they're getting out of harm's way around Arel. Army Group South grinds its way to Shilovgrad and Rostov. And Voronezh as well. See if we can take advantage of some of that chaos as the Soviets try to get out of that forming pocket around Arel. What's that? Oh, they're trying to get away through that gap. Huh. So we'll take a quick look at what the front has developed into, and then I'll conduct moves and attacks for turn 91, and then we'll come back and get a situation report after that, and then we'll execute the Soviets' turn. 17,000. A little more this turn. We're down around 10, 13 for a couple of turns. What's the weather? Snow, snow, snow. Great. No blizzards and no mud. Excellent. So what became of the pocket around RL? Yeah, they entirely got away. No, maybe not entirely. We may be able to capture a few of these divisions. And was there a general withdrawal? Not really. Trying to form a line here where we broke open. And they're retreating. I was hoping that some of these formations here would remain in place because we did sneak in the 38th Panzer Corps to work with the 31st. Not to be Soviets just getting out of harm's way too quickly towards the end of this winter. Well, these Soviets will be finished off. So what's happened down here? No, they didn't get away. That's good. I didn't think they would. I don't know. Yeah, they're just trying to escape to the west. Maybe retake Kharkov. Who knows? All right. Kind of a jagged front as the Soviets pull back here and there, which can make for opportunities. Set the stage for opportunities, and we'll destroy these Soviets here. A strong line remains in front of Leningrad, but there'll be less 6 strong infantry corps. No, we may be able to pick off at least a tank corps. And you noticed, right? As the past couple of, I mentioned a couple of videos ago, or was it last video, that there are far less tank corps around. That's right, because we destroyed a crap ton of them, and I am overjoyed about that. All right, so I will step aside, do moves and attacks, and we'll come back and get a situation report, see where we are at, what further opportunities the Germans can capitalize on, and we only have maybe another couple of weeks of offensive operations. We'll make the most of it. All right, I'll be back. All right, I am back. Moves and attacks complete. Let's get a situation report. I didn't catch this during the Soviets' turn, that we have been the victims of an amphibious landing. Not only was it bad enough that Tallinn held out, now Tallinn is getting reinforced by 3 Soviet formations, 2 divisions and a corps, no less. Yes, Tallinn has been a rallying cry for the Soviet war effort, and now it's being reinforced. Oh my God. All right, so let's move over here. Soviets held out, tried to attack a couple times, but very strong infantry corps, and they have fort level 2s. So it's going to be maybe not next week or the week after, maybe the week after, but these formations will be destroyed. Meanwhile, just pushing forward again, really from Leningrad all the way down Novgorod, down across this swampy mess of an area, all the way down to Veliky Luki sector, where we're steadily pushing back. The Soviets made some attacks in the mountain ranges, forcing the Soviets to withdraw. Hex by hex, 10 miles at a time, we accomplished a host of disruptions upon the Soviets, which was great. See here, I think there was about a dozen across the front in all different regions. So we had some success with combat resolutions, but really it is a grind. As the winter winds down with snowfall last week and this week, the Germans are exhausted, showing fatigue in almost all of their formations, and just grinding towards territorial objectives. Ryzev, Novgorod, Leningrad, and let's look at this picture. Finally, the 24th was put into action with vigor, along with the 30th, punched a hole in the Soviets' line east of Vyazma, and just a little bit north. 2nd SS Panzer Corps continues to attack, grinding forward, pushing the Soviets back, routing Soviet formations, and it's this jagged, confused front in front of Moscow, 50 miles from Moscow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 60 miles from Moscow. That is a compelling picture. The Soviets do not have like the depth that we see in a lot of sections now along the front, in particular Army Group North, and in some places down in the south. For some reason, I don't know if it's neglect or the Soviets just don't have the forces available to them any longer, defend in great depth. However, as we attacked towards Moscow along 2nd SS Panzer Corps' axis of advance and the 30th and the 24th axis of advance, we ran into a multitude of divisions and corps that were a couple hexes back from the front. So they did have a defense in depth, but we continued to push forward. We didn't attack to the utmost with some of our Panzer Corps. Most of them we did. But we are carving our way to Moscow. If the Soviets don't do something significant, we will gain another 10 to 20 miles towards Moscow, provided it's not mud. Very compelling picture here. With this in mind, I also railed up the 31st Panzer Corps. Overall, we now have 6 Panzer Corps operating in Army Group Center's area of operations, 4 Panzer Corps in Army Group South's area of operations, and 1 Panzer Corps in Army Group North's area of operations. The 6th Panzer Corps I'm going to have in 2 groupings, one here and one here, in the hopes in 1943 to get a grand encirclement somewhere along Army Group Center's frontage. Should the snow continue for the next couple of weeks, we may be able to achieve an encirclement here, but I think we're going to run out of time before mud season starts. Nonetheless, we are close to Tula, Kaluga, Moscow, Ryzev, all objectives that could fall to the Germans in 1943. I can't imagine they're not going to throw everything but the kitchen sink in front of Moscow. But to do so, they're going to have to rail in all the reinforcements that they may have tasked elsewhere or pull them out of the line. All right, so south of Vyazma, down into this area where we have again encircled a pair of Soviet divisions around Arel's sector, continuing to push against Soviets, coming adjacent to them as they withdraw. Same can be said from Kursk south all the way down to this sector where we have Army Group South Panzer Corps in operation. Was it here we had the encirclement? I am losing track. Yeah, it was here where we had encircled the Soviets. We had almost encircled the Soviets around Arel. That's what it was. Okay, so we destroyed the Soviets here that we had encircled, and this grouping of Panzer Corps is going to reconstitute, and we have one sole Panzer Corps down here, the 36th, that has broken through along with the bulk of Army Group South's Infantry Corps to come adjacent to Voroshilovograd, another objective that could fall within the next couple of weeks. And the infantry corps continue to press and disrupt the Soviets on the march to Rostov. Coming down further south, we see the Romanians. Oh my. I forgot to move my Romanians. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back after moving our Romanians, and look at this. The Romanians are in hot pursuit of the Soviets in the Crimea, pushing, threatening Sevastopol, and also sealing off this neck of land into the Caucasus. Very impressive, Romanians. So we have our Panzer Corps roughly in place where we will conduct operations in 1943. I am not going to relent until mud arrives as we grind towards Moscow. We cannot give the Soviets any breathing room. The closer we get to Moscow, the better. This is something unlooked for. And we have a little encirclement there. Soviets again have defense in depth, and I imagine they have some operational reserves sitting in Moscow that will be moved to the front immediately as the alarm bells go up. But we have Panzer Corps here, and here to conduct offensive operations in 1943. Further to the south, the goals are Voroshilovograd. Let me look at that. Voroshilovgrad, Rostov. Those are the two objectives for Army Group South. After that, all efforts will be to destroy Soviet formations. There's no territorial goals, really. My cop's down here, but that would be a long march to my cop. We'll see how the Romanians do in the Crimea. But right now, Rostov, Voroshilovgrad are the main objectives for Army Group South. Let's take a look at the front. So with the Soviets withdrawing in multiple places and the Germans trying to catch up in some of our little encirclements, the front's a little more jagged now. Still have that bend after Army Group Center's boundaries end and goes into Army Group North. This curve in the front. And the German forces at the gates of Leningrad and soon to be at the gates of Moscow. And two more major cities will fall to the Germans, if not by the time mud hits, soon after, when spring and summer arrives. But before we hit next turn, I almost forgot, let's look at losses. So 29,000, almost 30,000 losses. That is representative to the ferocious fighting that took place from Army Group North all the way to Army Group South, as the Germans, with a sense of urgency, try to take advantage of every opportunity, get some territorial gains and objectives before mud season comes in and the Soviets have a respite. Soviets lost over 100,000 troops. That's due mostly to the small encirclements that we finished off, and 436 more AFEs. We have surpassed, causing 10 million losses to the Soviets and almost 440,000 tank losses to the Soviets as well. This is very representative of how few tank formations the Soviets are fielding in comparison to when 1942 started. Alright, now it's time for next turn. What are the odds it's mud? Yeah, late March. Getting into late March, early April. It's mud. I'll be a little disappointed because it's going to be a while to finish off those Soviets in those two small pockets. I want to get those destroyed and get the troops that they're tying up into the line. And we have to do something about the amphibious landing by Talon. That took me by surprise. interested in what the Soviets do in front of Moscow. Go ahead, push some tank core through that gap. I dare ya. Well, they've attacked a regiment and a Luftwaffe field division. Now a Hungarian division. I think the Soviets are a little taken aback by the ferocity of the Romanian advance. What an epic winter. Truly, the shape of the battlefield changed drastically from once mud was gone and the ground froze and snow started. Equally, if not more successful than the summer offensive. Evacuated? That would be pretty interesting if the Soviets did that. But I don't think they can get through. No attacks out of the beachhead around Tallinn. Of maybe the defense in front of Moscow. Escape again. Gave him supplies. Hold your breath. Snow or mud? I'm saying mud in at least one zone. Looking good, looking good. Okay. About average. Across the board here. Let's look at the weather. Snow, snow, snow. Still ice level 10. Thaw is not coming early in 1943. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. We have a few things left. The Germans have a few things left for their winter offensive. Wow, pulling back? Why are they conceding this hex? That's odd. And this hex. This allows us to attack. Granted, only on a 1 hex frontage. But to attack and get behind this little hill section, that was a mistake. Should not have done that. What? If anything, they're tying up forces. I don't know what they're going to accomplish, but is Talonin? They came out of Talonin. Why would they do that? They were doing so well. Try to capitalize on that. I may have to rail up those 2 infantry divisions and just take care of this once and for all. Yeah, I'll probably do that. But we'll take a quick look at the front here. Definitely can finish off some of the smaller pockets. What does it look like in front of Moscow? Yeah, they have a contiguous line now. They brought in whatever reinforcements and whatever operational reserves they had within Moscow, defending as best they can. What are the fort levels we're looking at to get through? Only zeros. That's good. They haven't had time to dig in, so that's why we have to keep on the pressure. Get in maybe another 10 miles closer to Moscow. I'm thinking potentially of turning axis of advance to the south and east just to kill Soviet formations and attack from the north and east, although the Soviets pretty strong here. Pretty strong. Weaker line here. We could shift and attack over, because Tula does not have a river network to protect it attacking from the south. We're not going to take Moscow in the next couple of turns, so let's do some shaping operations for 1943 and maybe get an encirclement within here somehow. We'll check that out, and let's look down here further. We travel down. There were some withdrawals. They just have some blocking forces here. Just equal combat power, just holding the line. What's happening down in this region? A thinner line for the Soviets. Gain some ground. How strongly are they defending? Potentially next turn, not this turn, next turn, we'll take Voroshilovgrad. Rostov defended not that strong. Not that strongly. Finally, can we get rid of this partisan? Let's get it on camera. It's been a while. I had to rail in this stinking 2nd Slovakian Security Division because I had no one in this region, and that partisan was sitting there for a while. Boy, oh boy, I hate partisans. All right. Looking out, did we get any reinforcements? My. 2 more strong, healthy, fresh infantry divisions. Oh my. Another field. Luftwaffe field division. That's all right. Those can plug holes in the line, hold quiet sectors. That is fine. Freeing up our Wehrmacht infantry divisions. Very good. The attack will continue when there is snowfall. We'll grind towards Leningrad, Moscow potentially turning our axis of advance to get an encirclement of some kind, or at least threaten them to give up territory so that we can get closer to Kaluga and Tula before mud arrives. Rostov and Voroshilovgrad. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is First Fire, and Nana Soap, move out.